Hello, my name is Kendall Pedigo, and I'm going to talk to you about different species and areas that are endangered from our habits as humans and how we can help conserve them. First, I'll give you a little background of conservation and statistics of endangered animals. Wildlife conservation is the action of protecting wildlife, while most wildlife conservation organizations have a similar goal of ensuring the future of nature for other generations to enjoy. Wildlife conservation doesn't only concentrate on animals, but their habitats as well. Certain nations have government agencies that help to implement policies that protect wildlife, and an abundant number of nonprofit and non government organizations that promote different wildlife conservation causes. America alone has multiple conservation laws, such as the Endangered Species Act, Marine Mammal Protection Act, and Wild Bird Conservation Act, that help to define its stance on wildlife conservation. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature's Red List, which is the world's most comprehensive inventory of the global conservation status of endangered species, there are now 41,415 species, including animals and plants. This number is up over 16,000 species since last year. In the last 500 years, 800 species have been forced into extinction because of our human action. The World Wildlife Fund Living Planet Report of 2016 is a document of the state of the planet, such as biodiversity, ecosystems, and the demand of our natural resources. The report is published every 2 years from a variety of research for a comprehensive view of the health of the earth. According to the report, the freshwater species population has declined 81%, marine species has declined 36%, and terrestrial species population has declined 38%. Today, protected areas cover about 15% of the Earth's surface, but only 4% of the oceans are protected. Habitat loss is considered to be the main threat to 85% of all species described in the IUCN Red List. Since the 1990s, 94% of total global forests have been destroyed, and 70% of deforested areas were converted to agriculture. Some organizations, agencies, and associations that are aimed towards wildlife conservation include the Wildlife Conservation Society, Global Wildlife Conservation, and many more. The Wildlife Conservation Society is a nonprofit organization committed to conserving the world's wildlife and habitats. Through science, WCS finds what it is wildlife species of the larger majority in places need to survive till the end of time. If you are interested in your local wildlife, visit the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation website. They aim to protect and conserve Oklahoma's wildlife population and habitats. Some of the major dangers to wildlife include climate change, unregulated hunting and poaching, and overexploitation of resources. Many people know about the climate change in the Arctic Sea and the species such as polar bears that live there, but many people don't know that the Arctic isn't alone. Drought, shorter winters, and other climate changes affect many species and how they thrive, as well as warmer oceans are causing coral reefs to die, which is home to an incredible amount of ocean species. Illegal poaching is one of the largest threats to species in Africa and Asia. The illegal wildlife trade is most well known for the poaching of elephants for ivory and tigers for their skin and bones. What people don't know is that thousands of other species are being similarly exploited, and not all of them are illegal. The trade value can't be reliably estimated, but it is guessed to be valued around $15 billion. The WWF considers illegal poaching to be their priority in ending the threat to endangered species. While we as humans depend on wildlife for food, clothing, medicine, shelter, and other things, we have continued to overexploit the animals and their habitats. Much of the illegal wildlife trade is a major contributor to wildlife and plant overexploitation. The most overexploited species include marine fish, invertebrates, variety of trees, and other plants and animals harvested for medicine and pet trade. For instance, the Atlantic bluefin tuna is currently overexploited. Scientists estimate that the sustainable limit of tuna is 7,500 tons, yet the fishing industry harvests an annual amount of 60,000 tons. The decline or extinction of one species can also have detrimental changes of other species within a specific habitat. Without wildlife conservation, there are many ramifications, such as destroying the ecosystem. When one species becomes extinct, it causes a ripple effect. For instance, if bees go extinct due to our human activities, then there would be no way to pollinate plants. Therefore, plants would not grow. Animals would have nothing to eat, and then animals would eventually die, and we would have no resources for nourishment for ourselves. Why you should care about conservation is because wildlife and their natural habitats are very beneficial to us as humans. We can learn from animals and benefit them in many ways, such as using them as resources, but we overexploit them for our own selfishness. For years, animals have helped us by providing nutrition, medicine, and keeping our ecosystem healthy. Animals have helped us cure various health conditions like heart disease from the chemicals they produce. In fact, more than 25% of the medicinal prescriptions given every year contain chemicals from animals. Wildlife doesn't only pertain to animals, but plants as well. As humans, we take for granted the natural plants that fuel our ecosystem. Our ecosystem is already falling apart due to our human activities of polluting the air and water. Without an ecosystem, we would have nothing to save us from the sun. There are many solutions to better conserving wildlife, and many organizations are working these solutions as we speak. By conserving and protecting wildlife, the habitats they live in, we enrich our planet. WCS believes the solution to conserving wildlife is to discover how to save nature and protect wildlife. Then they can inspire everyone to join them in saving them. WCS is working towards saving wildlife and natural habitats through helping to create protected areas that are critical to saving wildlife and wild places. While WCS has larger goals to conserve our planet and its wildlife, there are many other ways you can help conserve. Some of the ways include donating money, donate your time. In conclusion, conserving wildlife and their habitats is something to care about. I hope that after listening to my speech, you understand the urgency of saving our planet and the species that live on it. With more than 41,000 various species on the endangered list, you can help stop the number from growing and those species from going extinct by taking action now. Donate to WCS or any other organization that are aimed towards conservation. Without conserving the diversity of our planet, we may not recognize the planet we live on 50 years from now.